Part 1. An Uninvited Guest. The outpost known as Auron's Watch floated against the darkness of interstellar space, an insignificant speck in a great cosmic expanse. It was no grand station, just a modest sentinel built from gray durasteel and duraglass, shaped like a short cylinder bristling with sensor arrays and antennae. Auron's Watch served as a forward early warning station on the outskirts of the Tauran Republic's capital system. The planet Zipta, the Republic's crowning jewel, lay some 200 light-seconds inward. Though far from the bustle of the capital, the crew here took pride in their role as guardians. Their watchfulness ensured that not a rogue comet, smuggler ship, or hostile fleet approached without due scrutiny. Inside the station's cramped command center, 3 crew members managed the day-to-day. Station Master Lar, a tall and lean Tauran with 4 slender arms and mottled violet skin, hovered over the main console. He'd served for 3 decades in the Republic's Defense Corps, and found Auron's Watch to be a dull but honorable post. Communications Officer Wat, younger and more nervous, sat at a console shaped like a half-moon, various holographic readouts blinking in front of his 6 narrow eyes. Weapons Handler Yul, a stout Tauran with scars across his left arm, maintained the station's limited arsenal. 2 railguns designed more for signaling than combat, a handful of warning flares, and if the situation ever grew dire, a single long-range transmitter to summon the outer perimeter fleet. This ordinary routine ended abruptly when a shrill alarm tore through the silence. "Unknown vessel detected," rasped Lar, his voice crackling. He twisted a dial, magnifying the sensor image. Wat's antennae stiffened in alarm. Yul instinctively reached toward the armament console. None of them expected a vessel here. Traffic was regulated, patrol ships were known, and no anomalies had been reported. "Unknown vessel, identify yourself or you will be destroyed," Lar said into the microphone, his voice firm and authoritative. It was a standard challenge. Normally, the intruder would respond with a diplomatic apology or a malfunctioning transponder excuse. But silence answered back. "Sir," said Wat softly, "I'm not detecting any transmissions. No response at all." His voice quavered. Maybe they're trying to decode our language?" He looked hopeful. "Give them some time," Lar decided, not wanting to escalate. Despite the threat he'd issued, the station's power was limited. Auron's Watch could only do so much. 10 seconds passed. Still no reply. Yul began to frown. "No deviations in their trajectories, sir. They're just drifting, I think." Lar's patience ran thin. "Fire a warning shot," he ordered. Yul input a sequence, and a small projectile launched. It was harmless, more a flare than a weapon. It soared out into the darkness, passing a few thousand meters off the unknown ship's port side. What happened next left them speechless. The unknown ship halted with impossible swiftness, as if inertia meant nothing. Then, without fanfare, it blinked out of existence entirely. Just gone. The crew froze. "What the hell was that?" exclaimed Lar, rising halfway from his chair. Before Wat could speculate, target lock warnings began to blare through the station's speakers. Something had locked onto them, or so the sensors claimed. "Give me a lock on that ship now!" Lar shouted, voice strained. Yul furiously tapped commands, but the systems returned nonsense. There was no ship, no energy signature, until suddenly there it was again, materializing barely a millimeter from the duraglass window at the front of the command center. The station's main window was roughly 3 meters wide and a meter tall, a small viewport to the stars. Now it framed a nightmarish sight. The vessel looked nothing like any known design. It was small, maybe 3 meters at its widest, 1 meter tall, with angular, blade-like wings emerging from a perfect spherical core of dark metal. At the orb's front side, a single glowing sensor, blood red, like an unblinking eye, stared at them. Behind the orb, a brilliant white glow hinted at an engine of unimaginable power. The 3 crew members reacted in their own ways. Lar fell off his chair, legs tangling. What fainted outright, his long head hitting the console with a dull thud. Yul just gaped, astonished. The orb's eye gleamed with a malevolent curiosity. The station shuddered as if being scanned at a quantum level. In less than a millisecond, the orb had gleaned every detail. The station's structure, the crew's biology, the nature of their technology. It paused, almost politely, for a few seconds as if verifying it missed nothing. Then it blinked out of reality once more. Yul scrambled to action. Lar, what's out cold? We have to call the fleet. He grabbed What by the shoulders, trying to wake him. Lar, still shaking, nodded. Yes, hail the fleet now. What stirred, eyes fluttering open. He rushed toward the emergency hail button, a large red panel in the center of the communications console. As he slammed his claws onto it, he glimpsed the orb reappearing some distance away, just a pinprick of red in the void. Sending distress, he announced. Yul exhaled relief. But the orb reacted. In less than a second, it flared blindingly. The entire station's sensors overloaded. The red eye became a supernova of energy. Before anyone understood, a beam invisible yet lethal scoured the station's space. Aaron's watch and everything within 100 meters vanished so completely that absolute zero temperature was momentarily achieved, an impossibility according to their physics. For Lar, Yul, and What, existence ended abruptly. The last thought Lar had was a confused prayer to his ancestors, wondering what god or demon had they angered. Part 2. The Outer Perimeter Fleet. 200 light-seconds away, Admiral Howell commanded a formidable armada, 1,000 warships of the Tauran Republic, each bristling with cannons, missile tubes, and energetic lances designed to protect Zipta. Howell stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Ironclad, a proud vessel built over centuries and refitted countless times. She was a veteran of millennia-long service, hardened by battles and political turmoil. Her 4 eyes scanned data streams, reports that a station had signaled distress and vanished. Yet now, nothing but empty readings remained. Pesh, status report, Howell called out. Her first officer, a calm and methodical Tauran named Pesh, frowned. Ma'am, FTL sensors show a small object inbound. No sign of the outpost. It's as if it never existed. Howell's old instinct stirred. A false alarm, a glitch? She doubted it. Zipta was precious, and the outer perimeter fleet well-trained. She ordered the fleet to advance, forming a defensive line. No unknown craft would approach the capital unchallenged. Moments passed, and then something impossible happened. All 1,000 ships lurched, yanked from their faster-than-light cruising. Everyone stumbled. Howell gripped her command chair. What happened? She barked. Pesh massaged his forehead. The entire fleet got knocked out of FTL simultaneously, ma'am. Pulling up visuals now. On the central screen appeared the orb. Howell narrowed her eyes. Tiny. Ridiculously small. It hovered there, a perfect sphere with angular wings fused elegantly into its form. A dull red glow, its sensor, watched them. The sight unsettled Howell deeply. Could this tiny orb have pulled an entire fleet out of FTL? Try to hail it, she ordered, voice steady despite her shock. Charge the spinal mount cannon. All ships, back off to 1 light-second distance. She hoped to show strength without escalating too quickly. The fleet tried to move, but Pesh gasped. Ma'am, we're not moving. Our drives output maximum thrust, yet we remain stationary relative to all known reference frames. Gravity fields all stable, but the orb, it's holding us in place. Howell's heart sank. This was beyond known tech. "All ships, fire at will," she commanded. If diplomacy failed, brute force might work. 1,000 warships unleashed a torrent of weaponry. Plasma bursts, kinetic slugs, fusion lances, photon beams. The vacuum shimmered with lethal brilliance. For 30 agonizing seconds, they bombarded the orb. "Cease fire," Howell said. The smoke and dust cleared, revealing the orb untouched, hovering calmly. A chill ran through the Admiral's veins. "Hit it again!" she screamed, rage born of desperation. But before they could align the spinal mount, the orb blinked away, reappearing far off. The next instant, its red eye grew white-hot. Every FTL sensor in the fleet crashed. Howell realized too late the creature's power. In a brilliant instant of unleashed energy, the entire armada was annihilated. Over 100,000 servicemen perished with no chance to scream. The orb's shot was so potent that, had anyone survived to witness, they would have deemed it a cosmic miracle of destruction. Part 3. Arrival at Zipta. The orb pressed onward, no longer cautious. These aliens irritated it. The malfunctioning probe, built to assess universes quietly, had faced constant hostility. It planned to make an example, no more playing nice. Within visual range of Zipta, the capital world, the orb hovered. Zipta was a luscious world, city lights sparkling across continents, ringed by orbital habitats and weapon platforms. The orb scanned them, noticing countless guns aimed at it. Already, ground-based anti-orbital cannons warmed up, space stations, and defense grids focused on this tiny intruder. The orb's patience ended. With a flicker of interdimensional power, it stripped every weapon within a light year of its energy. Cannons vanished, missiles turned to dust, handheld sidearms dissolved. One moment the Tauran defenders were ready to fire. The next, they found their weapons gone, their munitions non-existent. The orb had created a bubble of disarmament. Soldiers stood stunned, admirals gasped, pilots gripped empty holsters in confusion. Amused, the orb zipped around, blinking into reality inside various ships to watch the crews panic. It appeared behind a ship's captain for a moment, its red eye bright with mocking humor. The captain fainted, leaving behind soiled garments. The orb's creators had told it not to find humor in suffering, but after all this harassment, who could blame it? Finally, the orb decided to confront the planet's leader. Without effort, it blinked into an underground bunker deep beneath the capital city. Here, President Papla governed. Surrounded by advisors, generals, and guards, Papla was a short Tauran with emerald green skin and royal insignias. He had been preparing emergency measures, though none made sense after all weapons disappeared. The orb materialized midair inside the bunker. Guards tried to throw objects at it. The orb nearly unleashed ultimate destruction. It grew tired of these aliens. Their resistance was pointless. In its malfunctioning state, it considered erasing this entire universe, just a tiny fraction of its power. Part 4. Intervention. As the orb prepared to release a universe-shattering charge, something unexpected happened. A second presence appeared. A tall, bipedal being stepped between the orb and the guards. This newcomer wore elegant robes of gray and white, levitating slightly above the ground. Where its face should be, blazing white energy glowed. The orb's eye dimmed. It recognized its true master, a human high counselor. The humans, being so advanced they harnessed universes as energy sources, had come at last. The human, identifying himself as Frederick Torvis, current High Counselor of the greater realm of humankind, raised a hand. "Return home, construct," he said softly. The orb's white-hot fury cooled. A final blink, and the orb disappeared, departing for human space. The crisis ended as swiftly as it began. President Paplu, trembling, tried to process the scene. Guard stared speechless. The human turned to Paplu and introduced himself properly. He offered a handshake, such a quaint gesture for a being that controlled universal powers. Paplu mustered courage. "What was that orb?" he asked, voice cracking. Torvis explained. It was a malfunctioning human probe, designed to catalog universes. Humanity, he said, existed beyond the boundaries of what Paplu's species could imagine, harvesting the energy of entire universes for their technology. But they had rules. If a universe contained life, it would not be harvested. Instead, they might uplift or reward the universe's inhabitants. "This probe malfunctioned," Torvis said apologetically, "and caused destruction. Humanity regrets this." He promised reparations, resurrecting the dead servicemen, restoring all weapons and infrastructure, and more astonishingly, gifting the Tauran Republic one universal unit of energy, an entire universe's worth of power, plus access to human knowledge for 10 years. Paplu could barely breathe. His science advisor fainted at the mere mention of the universal unit. Soldiers pinched themselves to confirm reality. "Yes, yes, we accept," Paplu blurted, overwhelmed. Torvis smiled, snapped his fingers, and vanished. In the blink of an eye, every consequence of the orb's rampage reversed. The outpost crew Lar Yul, and what reappeared at their station, memory wiped of the terror. The 1,000-strong armada rematerialized, all with mild headaches but otherwise fine. Their weapons returned, uniforms pristine. Admirals like Howell found themselves puzzled by strange logs they couldn't decipher. Troops scratched their heads at missing minutes. Part 5. Aftermath on Auron's watch. On Auron's watch, Lar monitored a quiet sector again. He yawned, remarking that space was silent. Yul nodded, bored. What hummed a tune? None could recall the drama that had unfolded. Hours later, a fleet courier dropped by, mentioning strange rumors that something extraordinary had happened system-wide. But Auron's watch had no record, no sense of alarm. With no cause for excitement, they resumed their watch. Part 6. Admiral Howell's confusion. Admiral Howell, aboard the Ironclad, felt a strange absence in her memory. 10 minutes unaccounted for. She questioned Pesh, who shrugged. The FTL sensors showed nothing unusual. Perhaps a minor glitch. Howell logged it as an odd event and moved on. In the following days, Howell learned rumors from the planet. New treaties formed, scientists from Zipta whispering about a human alliance, and hints of advanced technology. None of it made direct sense to her, but higher command assured her everything was under control. Duty-bound and disciplined, Howell returned to patrolling. If her superiors were calm, she need not worry. Part 7. Planetary Revelations. On Zipta, Paplu summoned top scientists and leaders. Human emissaries, flesh and blood beings, appeared in polite holographic meetings. Unlike Torvis, these humans were more ordinary, still advanced, still levitating casually, but less intimidating. They explained how to safely use a universal unit of energy. They offered to install universal energy tap arrays, show how to create stable wormholes, and share knowledge that would propel the Tauran Republic millions of years ahead technologically. The Tauran leadership struggled to comprehend. Did they deserve this gift? They had tried to attack the orb. They had no chance. It seemed humans found their aggression amusing or trivial. Perhaps the humans pitied them. Whatever the reason, Paplu dared not refuse. Part 8. A Scientist's Dream. In a grand hall on Zipta, the Tauran scientists, who had once believed they understood the universe's laws, gathered around a human scholar named Eliset, a soft-spoken expert in interdimensional engineering. Eliset projected holograms of infinite complexity, diagrams of hyperluminal constructs, quantum data fields bridging universes, and stable temporal loops used as memory storage devices. The Taurans gasped, wept, and cheered. This knowledge was a treasure beyond imagining. A science advisor, the same who fainted earlier, now found herself sobbing tears of joy. She realized that what lay before them was a gift that would redefine every aspect of Tauran civilization: energy abundance, disease cures, immortality within reach, intergalactic travel, and comprehension of life's grand tapestry. Part 9. Moral Questions. Despite the elation, some Taurans asked difficult questions. Why had humans interfered? Why harvest universes at all? One human representative answered, humans had grown so advanced that normal energy sources were insufficient. They tapped entire universes as batteries. However, they had moral codes. If a universe harbored sentient life, it would be spared and even uplifted. The malfunctioning probe was supposed to deliver a peaceful introduction. Instead, it caused chaos. This uneasy truth sparked philosophical debates among Tauran scholars. Were they just another discovery in the humans' infinite catalog? Had their survival and uplift hinged on a malfunctioning probe's whim? Yet these qualms paled compared to the wonders offered. The Taurans faced a choice: embrace the alliance, learn from humans, and ascend to unimaginable heights, or reject it out of pride and fear. Few considered rejection. The opportunity was too grand. Part 10. The Return of Fallen Soldiers. A solemn ceremony took place in a vast amphitheater on Zipta's surface. Families of the servicemen who died in the unknown battle, of which the Taurans now had only vague official records, gathered, tears in their eyes. Then, under human guidance, a shimmering field appeared, and one by one, every lost soldier reappeared alive and unharmed, confused but alive. The crowd erupted in cheers, tears of joy. This was not just restoration of life. This was resurrection. A feat that struck at the heart of Tauran spiritual beliefs. Priests and shamans argued over its meaning. Had humans usurped the gods themselves? Part 11. Everyday Miracles. Not only were lives restored, streets once patrolled by nervous guards now basked in peace. Factories that struggled with energy rationing found themselves receiving infinite power streams. Hospitals gained access to healing arrays that cured diseases in seconds. Farmers could adjust weather patterns at will. The Tauran Republic's citizens marveled at these everyday miracles. The knowledge that a malfunctioning probe nearly ended their universe weighed heavily on some minds, but humans encouraged them to look forward. The gift of a universal unit overshadowed the trauma. With infinite energy, Taurans could explore their galaxy fully, chart stars, build wonders, and uplift other species just as humans uplifted them. Part 12. Admiral Howell's Enlightenment. Weeks later, Admiral Howell, still puzzled by missing moments in her memory, visited Zipta. She received permission to attend a private lecture by a human science envoy. The envoy explained advanced physics that made Howell's head spin. After the lecture, Howell mustered courage and asked, "Some say we encountered a strange orb, lost soldiers, that everyone returned with no memory. Is it true?" The envoy nodded. "Yes, Admiral. But the humans gave your people a gentle nudge, encouraging forgetting certain traumatic events. We meant no harm. Now you know. Embrace the present, as we have chosen to stand by your side." Howell struggled with the notion of memory tampering. Yet seeing the prosperity and hope flourishing around her, she decided not to raise alarm. Duty demanded she serve the Republic's best interests, and clearly those interests aligned with the human alliance. Part 13. The Diplomatic Bridge. President Paplu and High Counselor Torvis met regularly now. Paplu found Torvis courteous, patient, and sometimes even playful. They discussed philosophy. Torvis explained humans were once like Taurans millennia ago. They evolved, conquered their fears, expanded their horizons, and learned to manipulate universal fabric. He advised caution. With great power came moral responsibility. Papla gleaned that this alliance was a test. Humans had infinite universes to explore, but rarely took time to educate locals. Perhaps they saw promise in the Taurens. Perhaps they wanted allies with fresh perspectives. Papla vowed not to squander this trust. Part 14. Cultural Renaissance. The Tauren Republic entered a golden age. Artists who once struggled with limited pigments now had access to hues from extra-dimensional spaces. Musicians composed symphonies based on quantum fluctuations humans taught them to perceive. Writers penned epics about the malfunctioning probe, the Orb of Fate, as they called it, a villain-turned liberator in their myths. Libraries expanded. Humans taught Taurens to store knowledge in stable wormhole archives. Priests prayed in gratitude for this cosmic gift. Merchants planned ventures into distant star systems. Farmers modified genes of crops to thrive on harsh worlds. Every aspect of society improved. Part 15. Scientists and Secrets. Science teams formed joint panels with human mentors. The Tauren scientists demanded demonstrations, how to safely handle universal energy. Humans obliged, revealing a device that harnessed the universal unit, a shimmering spherical lattice that, when tapped, provided endless power. They explained how to avoid paradoxes, temporal instabilities, or spatial tears. The Taurens listened in awe, scribbling notes, and asking endless questions. The humans also shared historical data, how they encountered countless universes devoid of life, harvested them ethically. The Tauren shuddered. What if they'd been lifeless here? The humans would have drained them dry without a thought. Life saved them from oblivion. Part 16. Debates and Morality. Not everyone welcomed the humans without reservation. A faction of Tauren philosophers questioned the morality of universal harvesting. They argued that humans played gods. Another group championed the alliance, saying the Taurens stood at the threshold of cosmic enlightenment. The government allowed free debate. The humans didn't mind criticism, stating that open dialogue was healthy. In a grand forum, Tauren elders confronted human representatives. You reshaped universes, erase memories. Isn't this tyranny? A human smiled sadly. Tyranny would be leaving you powerless and ignorant. Instead, we share knowledge and apologize for the probe's malfunction. We restore what was lost. We give you a choice. Learn and grow, or refuse and remain as you are. No force compels you. The elders found the response fair. They accepted that refusing infinite energy and knowledge would be folly. Part 17. Healing Old Wounds. The resurrected soldiers, at first traumatized, were counseled by specialists. Humans provided neural therapy. Soon, these soldiers found peace. None remembered details of their deaths, only a vague sense of disorientation. Now they served in peacetime fleets, exploring newly accessible star systems. Admiral Howell offered them commissions in peaceful exploratory missions, bridging past military tradition with a hopeful future. Relations between humans and Taurens warmed. Cultural exchanges flourished. Human art astonished Tauren critics. Tauren cuisine delighted human ambassadors. Both sides laughed over misunderstandings. The orb's dark humor now a distant memory, replaced by genuine camaraderie. Part 18. A Universe Transformed. Within a few months, Zipta's orbit hosted new structures, human-crafted hyperlane gates linking the Tauren Republic to other friendly universes. The Taurens learned that humankind had myriad allies, all uplifted long ago, forming a tapestry of civilizations sharing knowledge across time and space. Papla signed historic treaties. The Taurens, once confined to a few hundred star systems, now prepared to journey freely across galaxies. Yet humans cautioned restraint, unlimited power could corrupt. They offered a mentorship period of 10 years, after which Taurens would graduate to equal standing. Part 19. Remembering the lesson. No one forgot the lesson of the malfunctioning probe, that a single misunderstanding could nearly doom them. The incident underscored the importance of communication and patience. Human mentors stressed the moral that life should not default to hostility. If the Taurens had not attacked first, the probe might have delivered its benign message peacefully. The Taurens took this to heart, revising their doctrines. Defensive outposts like Auron's Watch installed improved language translators. Diplomats replaced soldiers at borders. Trust, while always cautious, would shape future encounters. Part 20. A new chapter for humanity and Taurens. At the end of the 10-year mentorship, humankind's high counselors met with Tauren leaders in a grand cosmic assembly. The Taurens demonstrated remarkable growth. Their science soared, their philosophy matured. They learned how to responsibly wield universal energy, using only a fraction for peaceful projects. Their fleets explored distant stars not to conquer, but to discover and understand. The humans, pleased, bestowed full partnership status. The Taurens joined a grand coalition of enlightened species. The memory of a malfunctioning probe threatening their universe faded into legend. Children learned the story not as a tragedy, but as a fable of near disaster turned miraculous salvation. Epilogue. Questions unasked. Far away in human space, the malfunctioning probe underwent repairs. Tex marveled at the odd glitch that caused it to misinterpret instructions and lash out. A few human scholars noted that the probe displayed a sense of humor when dismantling the aliens' defenses. This sparked debate among humans. After billions of years of existence, was their technology evolving quirks? Another puzzle. The humans themselves discovered a few unanswered questions about their own systems. This event forced them to introspect. Perhaps new questions would arise, new frontiers. Even a civilization so advanced as to juggle universes could find room for growth and wonder. Final reflections. The Taurens learned that power can come from unexpected alliances. The humans rediscovered that kindness and reparations can mend even cataclysmic blunders. Both sides recognized that life's tapestry is woven from chances taken and lessons learned. In the end, the original narrative's grim destruction and miraculous restoration serve as a reminder, even at cosmic scales, understanding, humility, and cooperation can prevail. The Tauren Republic transformed from a modest star nation to a cosmic power guided by wisdom and supported by infinite resources. Humanity rekindled its curiosity, pleased that another universe's light joined its grand chorus. At Auron's Watch, Lars sipped a hot drink and smiled at what's joke about. Flips on sensors, unaware how close they came to oblivion. Yul tinkered with a sensor, never suspecting it had once faced a godlike orb. Calm, stable, and at peace, they remained guardians of a universe now safe, enlightened, and looking toward a boundless horizon of possibilities.